Story 1. Wow, as a woman who is usually very nice and polite to people, the responses here so far are baffling my mind. Is it just an involuntary response to niceness, or do men read women being nice to them as interest? Story 2. I am in that situation right now. Why do I catch feelings just because she showed me a shred of attention and affection? I don't want to ruin another friendship. How do I get out of these emotions without making it awkward for everyone around me? Story 3. When I was younger and didn't have much contact with women, it happened basically every time. Now that I'm more social and talk to more women, there needs to be more than just being nice to get me interested. Story 4. Makes it so much easier to immediately believe they do not find you one bit attractive. You can just relax when talking to him or her, and the nervousness goes. Works like a charm for me. It is like talking to a friend. Story 5. Freaking always. I'm going to echo a lot of other comments here, but almost nobody, especially women, is ever nice to me. So when it does happen, the mind just doesn't know how to process it. You'll hear normal people flirting and hitting on each other and end up connecting, but you wouldn't even know what to say to facilitate a situation like that or how to know if they're interested at all, so you don't end up getting fired or arrested if you're wrong and she gets uncomfortable with you sharing your feelings about her. Personally, I'm so afraid of offending someone by telling them I'm interested in them that I haven't done so since I was 15, which led to public humiliation and rumors being spread. I've had crushes on many girls over the years, usually through work as I don't do anything else that will introduce me to any women, and it's always because they were simply nice to me. I literally only expect to be avoided and looked at with disgust, so when someone decides to be friendly just because we're coworkers, my mind starts racing with the implications of their kindness. I know some guys get flirted with this way, but I'm not in that league, so it has just been friendliness, but the mind still takes the unique treatment and develops attachment to it. I'm struggling with this at work now. There's a girl that's way too nice to me, and she does little things like go out of her way to talk with or help me, takes a genuine interest in what I say, and laughs way more than my humor can justify. She'll give me little trinkets like candy or gum randomly, and we have great conversations about life when there's downtime. We have lots in common and seem to vibe really well. However, I still think there is a 0% chance she's interested in that way. All the treatment can just be chalked up to friendliness, and I feel like if she was interested, there would be a bigger sign. A physical touch of the shoulder or something, an offer to hug, a text outside of work, a risque comment, a compliment on my appearance, etc. These are all things that haven't happened, but I see them happen to other guys from girls that like them. So unless stuff like that starts happening, surely my mind is just fabricating the whole thing and developing interest towards someone where there's no chance. I could never just bring it up either, because what if it makes her uncomfortable and then I lose my job? Too long didn't read. Big rant aside, women are rarely nice to me. If they are, my mind can't process it accurately because it isn't normal for me. I end up liking anyone nice to me and then assuming that there's no way they could like me because that happens even less. I assume that if anyone finds out I'm interested in them, it will be offensive to them, and I'll end up losing my job or making that person hate me and possibly try to ruin me. Story 6. It depends for me. Are they being nice in a flirtatious way? Because if so, not long at all. But if they are just being nice as a friendly neighbor, it can still happen, but only if they are attractive usually. Men don't get much attention like compliments, so when we do, we think it's flirting 90% of the time. Story 7. I'm pretty lonely, but I'm also a realist. I know that I'm not attractive and have nothing to offer a woman, so I assume they are just being polite and move on. Story 8. Not at all. I only catch feelings for people I've been intimate with for a while. Of course, that comes with experience. When I was younger, sure. Story 9. Depends on where you draw the line between developing feelings and acting nicely. If someone is repeatedly nice to me, more than what would normally be expected, there is a chance of me developing an interest or a short crush. This rarely develops into anything more than me wanting to learn more about them, and often leads to me deciding that we are just friends or nice acquaintances. I won't fall for someone from that alone if that is what you mean by developing feelings. If acting nicely is synonymous with not being unpleasant, then that is hardly enough for any of the previous statements about developing feelings. While treating me nicely in some capacity is a requirement, it is hardly the thing that makes me develop feelings. Story 10. I feel like this is a personal attack at me. Jokes aside, my whole early 20s were practically dating girls because they told me they liked me, and I didn't want to hurt them or turn them down, so I stuck with girls I had no interest in. Now I am more mature. A woman being nice is expected. It is not gender specific. I expect everybody to be nice. Costs nothing. To develop feelings, you need to look presentable and have a great personality. Story 11. Never being nice won't make me catch feelings. I'm in university where women are the majority and everyone is nice because it's basic human decency. I don't catch feelings for everyone nice. That would be stupid, and if you do, you should raise your standards. Being nice should be a basic human trait. Story 12. The first couple of times I'll think, oh wow, she seems super nice. If the trend continues, I'll start thinking about her subconsciously and realize that I've fallen for her months, maybe years later. Yes, I'm that dense that I don't recognize my own feelings towards a woman. Side story, I was once texting a girl, and we were talking about what instruments we'd like to learn to play. I told her I've always liked the saxophone because it sounds so smooth and sexy. She then said something along the lines of, "Can you guess what instrument I would like to blow?" I gave her the names of several types of instruments that you blow into, like the flute, clarinet, trombone, horn, etc. She had to tell me straight up, "Boy, I'm trying to flirt with you." Imagine my shock. A girl actually flirting with me. Story 13. Oh, come on. She could be nice, but you need much more than that to develop feelings. So, if you're 17, then yeah, it's common. Experience some rejections and no more feelings before sex. Story 14. Very common. This world is such a cruel, business-oriented world. And a man's brain typically operates in a business sense. Meaning, when people act nice towards you, there is usually a reason for it. In my personal experience, men are so used to taking emotional or spiritual damage from work, family, finances, relationships, expectations, and so on, that when a person is nice to us, it usually has a grand effect on us. It might even stop us in our tracks. Story 15. Off topic, but I've noticed people using this phrase, catch feelings, quite a lot lately. Is this a 2020s thing? The phrases I'd heard up until recently were having feelings for, or falling in love with, or something like that. Story 16. I find it's best to try and suppress all feelings. Then I wait 12 months for them to come back to me and be all like, damn, I used to have a crush on you. And then I die a little on the inside and carry on. Story 17. I feel like society has influenced men to assume kindness equals flirtation and, generally speaking, don't have the emotional maturity to recognize that. Some do, of course, but I have found that most do not. Story 18. I wouldn't say I catch feelings, but if a girl goes out of her way, and by that I mean just anything outside of the normal customer service type of talk, to compliment me personally, it almost pulls me into a whole new reality. It's so rare to get a genuine compliment as a guy. Story 19. I struggle with this big time. It really frustrates me. I'm not saying it's the woman's fault by any measure, but a woman will be nice to me or I'll go on 2 dates and catch hard feelings and uncontrollably imagine long-term things. The worst part is I feel it happening. I'm aware that it's happening, and I don't want it to happen. I try to fight it, and then when they break it off or show that they aren't interested in me, I get heartbroken and will be bummed out for way too long. I'm totally frustrated with myself, but I can't stop. It's just weird and annoying. Story 20. Generally in my life, I am not treated with kindness, so it is difficult to see the difference between kindness and interest. But these days, I just assume it is kindness. Story 21. It happened once. Never since then. Playing catch with yourself is fine for a while, but sooner or later, usually sooner, you get tired. It's just not worth it. Story 22. If the girl is someone that I find attractive, then it is pretty easy. If she is unattractive, the chances are much lower. I can usually tell if someone is nice to me because they like me, so I would make it obvious to the girl if I have no intention to date her, so as to not waste her time and effort. I cannot deny that physical attraction plays a huge role in who I develop feelings for. Story 23. It is 2020. There are very manipulative minds out there. My advice is to not commit too hard to things. Do not stick like glue to one interaction. Trust needs time to build. Story 24. For a person who has not been appreciated much in my life, if someone is kind to me, I really start liking them. About feelings, I don't know, but yes, I really like them. Story 25. I would be attracted to her because she was nice to me if I am looking for a girlfriend, but if I can't remember her or be more attracted to her other than by her kindness, then I wouldn't start having feelings for her. Story 26. I'd probably say not too often. A lot of that is due to being let down in the past when I thought something was going on just because a woman was being very nice to me. Some people are just very courteous and such, more of what the world needs, honestly. Anyway, when I do start catching feelings, it's usually when I'm talking to someone or in the process of dating, whatever you want to call it. Even then, I usually tread lightly. This leads me to the subject of getting your hopes up. Something I usually try to avoid doing. That way, if things don't go as planned, it won't be so shocking. It's a horrible coping mechanism, in my opinion. But it works. However, the problem with this is when the feelings are actually being reciprocated, you're still skeptical. Just have to get better with knowing the difference between someone being nice to you versus being interested in you. Story 27. 0. I'm oblivious. Even when flirting, I assume they are just being nice. There's nothing worse than being labeled a creep, so I basically never make the first move. This worked out all right so far. Story 28. Seeing as I tend to go by the rule of only disrespecting someone if they give me a reason to, otherwise try to be nice, it's not very often at all since I assume they have the same mindset. Story 29. It used to happen occasionally when I was younger, but time has made me a lot colder, and I am always suspicious when people seem to be nice for no reason. Story 30. Yes, almost every time if it was a woman that I interacted frequently enough with. Even though I never thought about it, I guess a woman being nice is one of the most attractive things she can really do. Ha. Anyway, just because I catch some feelings doesn't mean that they're super intense or that I ask them out. I can read a room, and I would rather not make a friendship awkward. Story 31. In my humble opinion, catch feelings is not the right phrase. If someone is very kind to me, they surely capture my interest, and I become very curious about them. Story 32. Since I am in my mid-30s and still a virgin, I want to marry any girl at the registry of the supermarket if she smiles half a second longer than average. Story 33. I always assume women are just being nice and not actually flirting or interested in me. Finding someone attractive and developing feelings are very different situations. I don't develop feelings until I have spent time around them in what is clearly a mutual interest scenario. Story 34. Not at all. Experience has shown that even nice people can have a lot of traits or problems I do not want to deal with. I need a more complete picture of the person before I start feeling anything for them. Story 35. After I became a bodybuilder, I noticed a significant change in the way people interacted with me. It became extremely uncommon. I pretty much avoid all women now except the most relentless, aggressive, and intelligent ones. Smart women know when a guy is a catch. Gold diggers just look for bling. Story 36. Used to be pretty common, but as you get older, that goes away. You can only go down the same road so many times before you wise up to your own behaviors. Story 37. Not too common for me anymore. I now assume that any woman being nice to me is just being polite, to the point that I'm pretty sure I've become oblivious to actual flirting. One time I had a cashier at Wendy's smile and wink at me when completing my order. I'm positive that she was just being friendly. I can't tell the difference, so it's safer to assume they're just being nice. It's likely cost me possible relationships, but my awkwardness and ability to be an idiot take care of that anyway. Story 38. It doesn't matter the gender. If you make a connection with someone, you're going to have feelings about them. Every friend I ever made, I love them. Not in a sexual way, but I care about them and their well-being for sure. Story 39. Far too often. I'm so desperate that I'm still thinking of that time I made eye contact with some pretty lady the other day completely by accident. Story 40. It caused a serious problem with me being attracted to my teachers, but when I was just friends with my boyfriend, he was so kind and sweet to me without expecting anything from me in return. He was just genuine and happy to be friends. So, of course, I fell head over heels for him. The results are great, though, because I've been with a man who loves me and is so good to me for over 3 years. Story 41. It's definitely very common. I don't even think this is specifically a male thing. I, as a male, have had it happen to me. I've also met women I am not attracted to who were interested in me, and they have specifically said they like me because I'm nice to them. I think it might just be the result of being starved for affection. When life feels difficult, people latch on to whatever makes them feel better. Story 42. Insanely common. I don't think people understand just how rarely a lot of men, or just males in general, are treated with genuine care or kindness. Just look at any discussion about being complimented or the woman making the first move. We aren't used to it, so we latch onto it, and when younger, we often misread things on top of it. Those misread situations are why a lot of men are overly cautious later in life when it comes to women giving them signs. Don't give us signs. Even if we see them, we won't believe them. We've guessed wrong too many times. You have to be blunt with us.